your car is going to need $4,000 worth of work. And they say, well, the car's only worth $5,000. Why would I put $4,000 into it? Say, hold on one second. It absolutely makes sense to put $4,000 into a $5,000 car. Are you facing a major repair with your vehicle? Don't know what to do about it? Should you fix it or replace it? I'm Dave Riccio with Tri-City Transmission and Auto Repair and one of the hosts of the Bumper to Bumper podcast. I'm here along with Jon Riggle. And Jon, this comes up every day for me because we're a transmission and auto repair shop. We got people facing major repairs sometimes on their vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
And I call them up and I say, all right, did I catch you at a bad time? Here's what's going on. And your car is going to need $4,000 worth of work.
Yeah.
And they say, well, the car's only worth $5,000. Why would I put $4,000 into it? And they act like it's a no-brainer.
Right.
But I have to say, hold on one second. If you're in the business of buying and selling cars, that equation that you just gave me would make sense. Why would you buy a car, or put $4,000 into a car worth $5,000? You wouldn't do it.
Right.
But if you're in the business of needing a car and the cheapest replacement value and lowest cost per mile, it absolutely makes sense to put $4,000 into a $5,000 car, given we've looked at the rest of the vehicle.
Yeah.
And so when sometimes people will say, well, why would I do that? And now if the car doesn't fit their needs any longer, maybe they bought the car, it's a two-door sports car before they had kids and child seats and all that stuff. Yeah, go get a different car. This thing no longer fits you.
Yeah.
But somebody be facing a $4,000 repair. And the way I look at it, and I do the math for them, and let's just say they have a vehicle that's worth $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
And it's worth $10,000 if it's working.
Yeah.
But needing a major repair, and let's say their major repair is $6,000.
Right.
So if they don't fix it, you got to understand what the vehicle is worth at that point.
Right.
If you need a major repair and you don't fix it, the vehicle's almost worth nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe someone gives you $2,000-$3,000 for it.
Yeah.
So if you don't fix it and it's worth 10 fixed, but not working, it's only worth, 3, you're going to lose $7,000 in there.
Yep.
In the value of the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't fix it, you're going to lose the money. If you do fix it, you're going to lose the money, but you still have a car.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it does make sense to fix it. And, but for people to get their, because they want to go to that first equation. Why would I put $6,000 into a $10,000 car?
Yeah.
Well, what does it cost you to replace that $10,000 vehicle?
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're $30,000.
Oh yeah,
you're $30,000 at the low end. I mean, you might come in mid to high 20s for, a real baseline car.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a chunk of money that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah, people are tight right now, and so I find more that no one's excited about going out and buying a new car.
Yeah,
and right now used car values are up.
Mm-hmm.
Because no one wants to go buy a new car. The new cars have become so expensive. You got to finance them for 7 or 8 years, and the price tag on them is extreme. So I find the people with the most financial peace and the money in their pocket are the people driving the older car.
Yeah,
Maybe they've done the math on it. So if you're at that point, you're like, do I fix this car? Don't I fix this car? One of the questions that I like to ask people is, before the car broke,
mm-hmm.
were you thinking already about getting another car? Because I think that's an important component.
Yeah.
Is, do I just put this thing out to pasture and get something else?
Yeah.
But if you had no plans of getting rid of the car and you're going to get rid of it now because it's broken, I think you should dig into that a little bit more. And we actually have a spreadsheet on our website. I don't know that anyone's ever used it because it's the kind of stuff that interests me and I geek out on.
Yeah.
TricityTransmission.com, but it's the repair or replace calculator. And people can put in there the value of the car. They can do all that stuff. So there is some calculators out there to establish whether you do want to get rid of the car or you don't want to get rid of the car. And the other thing that comes up, and sometimes people say, oh, I'm just going to run that car till the wheels come off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, okay, the wheels are off of it. Do you want to fix it?
Yeah.
And you've seen it over the years, people that defer maintenance and repair, defer it. And before time goes on, they got a jalopy. So because the average car on the road right now is 13 years old, people are hanging on to these things a lot longer than they ever used to. So don't defer the maintenance because you don't want it to come around the corner. Keep the car up. Don't let it fall behind.
And that's kind of part of the trick too. Cars last longer than they used to.
A lot longer.
Back in the day, man, when they started getting up 100,000 miles, we were like, you ought to think about moving on with this one, and cars have gotten better. They just the improvements all across the board with reliability and stuff are really huge. And so you have to consider that too. And the other thing you have to consider is what are you looking to replace it with?
Right.
Are you going to buy a new car or are you going to buy another used car? Both have, pros and cons to that. Are you buying another car that still needs a lot of work?
Well, and that's the thing where I think I see people trying to escape from the expensive repair, and because they're like, I'm not going to put, $4,000 in that car. I'm just going to go get a good used car. That is an oxymoron. There is no such thing as a good used car because no one gets rid of their car because everything works so well and they've taken care of all the maintenance and it's been such a great car. They're getting rid of the car because they haven't done the maintenance. They've deferred the repairs and they're going to get rid of the car and make it somebody else's problem. So if you think, hey, I'm going to go get a good used car, well, I think to start even to get in a good used car, and you may get a gem and you may get lucky. Because there are those lucky stories, and I hear them. I'm like, yeah, right? You totally did really well in that deal.
Yeah.
But for the most part, no. One of the questions we ask people when they call to make an appointment about getting their transmission checked out, we say, how long have you owned the vehicle? And we ask that question because we want to know the history of it.
Mm-hmm.
But over half the time do the people say, I just bought the vehicle in the last year.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when people think there's a transmission problem on a car, the first thing they do is go get rid of it before it happens.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And they know the other things on the vehicles. And once in a while, I buy a car somebody doesn't want to fix, and I'm like, wow. Once I start working, I'm like, oh, that's why they didn't want to fix it.
Yeah.
This car is so has been ridden hard. So you're not going to go get a good used car. And if you are, I think if you go into it right, I think if you go in, let's just say your budget for a used car is, let's say $15,000.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to me, that's a $10,000 car with $5,000 worth of money so you can fix the stuff that wasn't fixed. There's going to be things that need to be taken care of on the car. So you need to give yourself a little cushion when you buy a car as far as what you can afford because there are going to be things that need to come up for it. So,
well, and I think that's one of the things that I see people the two mistakes that I see people make the most are, so they've got the car that had all the deferred maintenance on it. Now they've had a catastrophic failure, engine failure, transmission failure or something. You have to look at the car in a context. And really the only way to do that is have a tech that can look at the car, go over the car, look at it before you make this decision on, spending or getting rid of it. What's the rest of the car like? What's this car gonna take after we do this? So we replaced an engine because it overheated for some reason or another. Okay, maybe blew a hose, radiator or something, had a catastrophic failure, put an engine in it. What other kinds of things are affected? Did that affect the trans at the time? Did the thing overheat? Did the thing overheat the trans too? I don't know. So what's the state of the rest of the car? Are you looking at needing $1,000 worth of tires in 2 months? What are the struts like? What are the bushings like? Does the air conditioning work? What's the overall condition of the car? Is this something that interior still in good shape and stuff? So before you make that decision, you want to assess that car in its entirety, and then before you buy a car, if you're going to buy a used car, I cannot tell you how many times I've seen people bring used cars in that they were so proud of that they just bought and they got a smoking deal on it. And I put it up in the air and look at it and go, do you realize how much collision damage this car had before they put it mostly back together?
Right.
So and that's always been kind of my pet peeve. If you're going to buy a used car, buy one that's been wrecked. There's too many good ones out there that haven't been. So, but people don't know that. People they get in a bind and they don't slow down a little bit and think about what they're doing, and that's when bad decisions happen.
Well, that's a good point because people say, "Hey, I'm going to go get another car," and I say, "Well." Because I do the math for them. I say the car's worth $10,000 working. It's worth $2,000 not working. If you don't fix it, it's going to cost you $8,000. In the value of the car is a real cost, $8,000 down the drain.
Yeah.
If you do fix it, it's going to cost you $6,000, and you still have a car.
Yeah.
So here we're facing the repair. If you want to get another car, that's fine, but I don't go to the grocery store on an empty stomach. And I think that's what happens. When I go to the grocery store on an empty stomach, I buy myself deep fried Twinkies and all kinds of stuff that I don't need that does absolutely nothing for my nutrition.
Right.
Right. So sometimes, you may not feel good to put $6,000 in a car to fix it because you are facing a major repair, but it will actually cost you less in this example to fix it than to not fix it.
Yeah.
Now, if you got plenty of money and money's no issue, well, go get yourself another car. This isn't even a discussion worth having.
Yeah.
But I don't find too many people with too much money laying around. I just don't. And people always seem to be, gosh, just enough to get through. And usually the way this stuff comes in people's lives, they're like, oh my gosh, I need a transmission. It's going to be $5,000 and I just put an AC unit on the house. I mean, it seems like it comes in storms. So it's not like we've lost all context. If I get an AC guy at my house tomorrow and he says, hey, Dave, $15,000.
Yeah.
That's going to hurt.
That's going to hurt. Yeah. Yeah.
So, so those are some things that come up is if, and I'm going to use the example of a $3,000 repair.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a $3,000 repair on your car and you're like, oh, I'll just get another car, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to take a $3,000 problem, and to get another good car, you may be spending 20 or 30 grand. So you're going to fix a $3,000 problem with 20 or 30 grand. I look at cost per mile. So I feel like everyone goes 30,000 miles in 2 years, $3,000 repair, 10 cents a mile.
Sure.
Now let's go get payments on a $40,000 vehicle. And what's our payments plus the cost of it? Our cost per mile went from 10 cents a mile to a whole bunch more.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You're $1.50 a mile, and you say, oh, wow, that is a lot of money.
Right.
So sometimes keeping that old car going. And the other thing people get a little bit mixed up on when they got an old car, you think that you have to fix everything on an old car.
Yeah.
And this comes a little bit from the auto repair industry because you say, hey, look my car over, everything.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I want to know everything. You give them the comprehensive list, and it's like,
well, why would I put
some of this stuff is recommended as opposed to necessary.
Mm-hmm. And I see that. We got Rob's car in the shop right now, and Santiago checked it out, and there's a little bit of seepage from the struts. They're starting to seep a little bit, and there's little things going on here or there. And if we, fine tooth comb it, we absolutely want everything to be perfect. Yeah, he's going to spend $7,000 on it.
Yeah.
Which he's like, old Civic, do I still do it? And so, but we went through the equation, what is it going to cost you to get another car? Tags, everything becomes more expensive on the other car. So and this is the other thing too, is when people go back to that, I'm going to go get a good used car, which again, how I feel about that. But sometimes the devil is better than the devil you don't know.
Yep.
So I watch people, jump out of one situation just to go into one that's twice as bad. And I got a RAV4 that I bought off of a customer for my stepdaughter, and the people were super nice. And her boyfriend had an extra car, and so she's like, "I'm not going to fix the RAV4." She's like, "What do I do with it?" And I'm like, "I don't really like to offer people money for their car because it's like a conflict, but we had a good rapport." And so she sold it to me, and what I did is I took the full retail value of the car off of Kelley Blue Book, and I subtracted out the retail price of the transmission, and that's what I paid her for it. And what happened is I got the RAV4 fixed, and Ronan's driving it, and it's great.
Yeah.
But the problem is that the car she got from her boyfriend is now downstairs right now as we speak, and it needs a transmission. Which was more expensive than a transmission in the RAV4. So, and that car has less miles, and it's newer, and all those things. So she didn't, I'm like, you probably wish you still had the Toyota. She's like,
yeah.
So you can go from bad to worse. So, but there is calculations in that repair replace calculator that came up with, and most people aren't spreadsheet people, but I used to nerd out on it. But you look at the cost of the repair, you look at the other things a car needs. Go ahead and pop in tires. Go ahead and pop in brakes. Some other things that are necessary items, not just recommended items on your car. Look at all that and calculate that out. Then make a good educated decision. And what I like to do here is I say we give people good information about their car so they can make a good decision for their needs. I'm not offended either way if you don't fix your car.
Yeah.
I just want to give you good facts. I don't. If I had a friend that was going to make a bad money decision over a car, I'd want to advise them. I want to treat my customer as someone I'm advising also.
Sure.
Yeah, you can do that, but you might be missing something here. And they go, I never thought about it that way. So the keys are, before the car broke, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
have you had a technician look at the rest of the car in its entirety? That's to your point.
Yeah.
And then what are you going to replace it with, and what is that going to cost? And is a good used car an option?
Yeah.
Is that something you can do? So anyway, thanks for joining us on the Bumper to Bumper podcast. He is Jon Riggle. I am Dave Riccio. Together, we've got decades of auto repair experience. John has more than most, for sure. We used to use a number in there, and we just quit. We quit even mentioning it. But if you're, you can find that repair calculator somewhere on our website, but it's repair or replace calculator at tricitytransmission.com. You can find our podcast website, Bumper to Bumper Podcast, and this Bumper to Bumper Podcast is powered by Tri-City Transmission and Auto Repair. We're in Tempe, Arizona. Feel free to stop by our site and check us out. Thanks for joining us.